Live from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Good Morning LaLa. And the makeover master himself is in the house. Thank you for being here, Mike Young.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Making over websites and brands, correct?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
That's a big job in today's world. We're all trying to figure out our brands fully, right?
Yeah, I think even myself, I tried to figure it out for a long time, and that's part of my journey, my struggle. Was I ran a mortgage company, and it went under the housing crisis. It took my self-confidence with it at the time. I created over 50 brands trying to kind of rediscover, reinvent myself.
Wow.
And spent a couple $100,000 on online courses and learning marketing and advertising and all these things. And it was such a process for me that now today I get to help others avoid some of the struggle that I went through.
It's real. 2008 was intense. So glad that you made it through that dark hour for all of us.
Yeah.
So give us a little. We want to hear a little bit about your personal journey, because I know you have some great stories, and then we also want to hear about like the tips and stuff about branding.
Yeah. For me, I think it took me a long time to get over. I did have the mortgage industry that kind of things didn't go well with my company at the time. I decided you were talking earlier on the show about getting overwhelmed with emails, and I was getting 200 to 500 emails a day, and I had 250 employees and 10 offices, and I just got to the point where I was like, screw this, like I need to do something different. And I was lucky enough to have a very supportive wife. My kids were super young at the time. And so I left and just said, I'm going to do my own thing and figure out kind of my ideal lifestyle, how I want to structure things. I didn't want meetings. I wanted the dream, I wanted all the income without all the headaches.
Oh, don't we all?
But
Yeah.
that goes to your. Sorry. You have to talk about your tattoos real quick on that.
Sure. This one they're written in Thai. This one says commitment, and this one is freedom. And freedom to me meant the ability to work with who I want, when I want, where I want. And today I have that, which is super nice. And I work with some great people. It took me a long time to get there. It was an 8.5-year journey for me of really grinding it out. For sure.
Well, and now you're able to successfully make over businesses and their brands so that they look financially successful.
Yep.
What is the key to that?
I think so many brands, especially my clients, they're such wonderful people. They have amazing talents. They've worked at their own craft, but sometimes we're too close to our own problem, and we forget that there's still somebody today logging into Facebook for the first time, or there's still somebody today logging in to see your brand for the very first time. And so they form a first impression very, very quickly of who you are, what you represent.
What forms a first impression? I mean, really, truly, is it the colors? Is it the images? Is it the sound?
It's a combination of all of it, but it is mostly design based in the beginning. It's mostly what we see. I was in the airport coming over here, and I wouldn't say unfortunately, it's just the way human beings work. We all form first impressions based on what we see. We judge books by their cover. And so I feel like my mission is to help people overcome that first obstacle, which is to form a positive first impression, so that people begin to get to know what's inside the book, what's inside the brand.
And I love what you do, because I love, first of all, that you highlight that, because that's, of course, incredibly important. Also, I know how incredibly subtle it can be, right? Because sometimes the things that seem like they set a great first, sort of positive first impression, they aren't those things at all. It's something a little bit different, something that's a little bit more subtle or nuanced, right?
Yeah, and I think there's a concept in the brain called cognitive bias, which just says that once you form a first impression, you hold on to that until proven otherwise. That's why murder mysteries work. It's why thrillers work. They give you this impression of who the killer is, and you hold on to that until they twist it on you at the end.
Interesting.
And so it takes a lot of proof to overcome a bad first impression. You see it in, it's funny, the interview before was, around being naughty in LA or whatever. It's like that first impression is so important of how you look, how you present yourself. And if you don't nail that the first time, sometimes it's insurmountable to overcome. People are starved for attention these days. They don't take the time to figure you out. It's your job to present the best you
Which is so true.
and get them to contact you.
He arrives very professionally about 25 minutes early. And I was like half in mascara, curl in my hair, and I was like, this is not the first impression I wanted to make. Let me reintroduce myself when I'm fully together. But it's so important, right?
Yeah, and you know, a lot of our clients, they have, I mean, one of my clients is my mindset guy. He literally changes people's lives. And so I view it as like the second layer down. It's like I'm helping brands present themselves how they want to be presented, but really it's who they can help. So we all have a contact rate where 100 people come to your site. How many people actually take the next step and engage with you and your brand? And that's really what we solve.
But isn't that what's so great about social media is you actually can see those numbers now. You can see the impressions, you can see the click-through, you can see all that. So oftentimes people say, have someone that doesn't know anything about you, go to your website and check it out. Because if they don't know in the first, like above, whatever you call it, fold, what you do and have an action to take, forget about it.
Yeah,
right?
you're gone and you never come back. You just are too busy. We're all too busy. We're distracted. Our society's distracted. So it's like, I can't figure you out. I don't have time to figure you out, and you never come back.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
Yeah.
So if somebody's sitting at home or in the office right now watching, what quick tips would you have for them to think through this so that they can just take the first steps to create a good first impression?
yeah, I would say you should go back to your website, your social media and everything, and really sit down and say, if I'm viewing myself for the very first time today, what do I see? Am I confusing my audience? A lot of entrepreneurs and professionals are actually so successful, they're hurting their contact rate on their first impression because they have this project and this book and that project and that book. And so you come and it's overwhelming to a new prospect. And you really have to just simplify it down to, here's what I do, and here's how you can start.
That's my problem. Too successful.
Too successful.
I was thinking right now.
Be successful.
He tells us like the other day, he's like, oh, so I finished writing my 4 books. And I thought he was reading 4 books. And I was like, hang on a minute, did you say writing 4 books? Rob.
Yeah, I mean, I think going back to like my mindset guy, he helps people. He's helped people quit smoking in less than an hour. He's cured my wife of anxiety, that she had anxiety for over 30 years, cured her in less than 4 sessions. But his visual brand wasn't, we're working on it right now. It just didn't look the part. So he's not able to impact and help the number of people he could be if he just looked the part of who he actually is. So it's not faking it or anything. It's just bringing out who that person already is and just helping them look the part so that they can pass that first impression test.
What have you seen translate into sales the most? Is it having a landing page? Is it engaging out in real life? Is it what do you see with your clients?
Yeah, there's a book called Contagious that talks about this a little bit, and actually the percentages say that it's not social media. So many people think social media is going to be this huge percentage of introductions and warm referrals and stuff, and it's actually only about 7%. Wow. It really is person-to-person contact. Hey, Erin, there's somebody that you should meet.
Yes.
And that, but a lot of times it does stem from that. So I would say there's no perfect answer. There's no perfect landing page. There's no perfect funnel that you're going to put people through to get the conversions you want. But it is about getting people to understand quickly what you do, not confusing them, putting your best foot forward, so to speak, and getting them to take that first step. And then from there, I think we've all done it. You've opened a book and you've been like, this book sucks. Very quickly, if the rest of what you have going on as a company or a brand isn't on point, you're going to struggle just like you would in any other thing. Yeah. So you still have to have the goods.
We call it social proof, like really. Social media is just so that people have social proof. It's like they like you, they like everything, then they go check you out. You either make it or break it with the social proof. I don't think many sales are made online per se, and that's not my experience, way more than 7%. But I think overall, for sure, human relationships for sure the number one thing.
Trust and verify.
And there are people that make their entire living on just building a funnel and a landing page and whatever, and they're wildly successful. But I think for the average entrepreneur, the average small business owner, it is trying to put all those moving parts together And when you take action for a couple of years, sometimes your visual brand becomes a mess.
Right.
And it's just, you've taken so much action that it becomes confusing to your
That
audience.
is exactly my problem. I'm taking too much action.
Yeah, too much action. You're
Mike,
successful.
you've got the job.
So how can people find you? How do they work with you? What does that look like?
My website, themakeovermaster.com. I always kind of laugh about that just because it's like you got to have some guts to say you're the makeover master. But online, Facebook, I'm very active on Facebook at the Makeover Master.
Cool.
And so Mike Young Makeovers is my other handle.
I like as you give examples and you show the before and after of the websites. You can just learn a lot even by going to your website. So
Yep.
go to his website. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for anybody, you asked how to get started. It's like just remember that somebody's running into you for the first time, and try and view yourself as that person. And sometimes you need that outside perspective. You need some help.
Love it.
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing that
thank you guys.
with
Thank you
us.
so much.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more Good Morning La La Land.